Okay, so tonight I'm just gonna be starting working on just some programming. Let me get my screen over here all set up. Okay, bam, there we go. So all I'm working on is uh, my dungeon RPG game. I started this project a while ago. Did a couple streams working on it. And here's kind of where we're at. This is kind of where we left off. I'm working on right now, moving everything into a new graphics engine. So this will be utilizing Monogame going forward to handle graphics. Hey, Penguin, what's going on, man? I'm working on a dungeon RPG. I don't know if you missed kind of my thing there, but yeah. Uh, Utilizing Monogame and a custom engine that I'm working on myself for the actual logic of everything. But for the graphics, I'm using Monogame. Dungeon Dad. Yes, that's what we're doing tonight. One of the things I'm trying to figure out. Yay, computer science! I know, right? I love it. I don't ever have the opportunity to do too many programming streams on here. So what I want to do is, I'm trying to work on this collision right now before I go any farther with this project. So you can see when I run into this wall right here, uh, it connects completely. The hitboxes touch exactly. But if I hit like this wall or this wall down here, anything down here or to the right or to the bottom, it leaves about like 8 pixels of space. Actually, that's not even 8 pixels. That's like 4. Yeah, so it leaves like 4 pixels of space. And obviously that's not terrible. It still counts as it hitting, but graphically it doesn't look right. Sorry about that. All right. So yeah, so that's kind of what I want to work on, as well as this little bit. I've been starting sort of. Is your background correctly scaled? Yeah, I mean all the everything's scaled properly. So every icon here is 32 pixels, and I have a constant here that I'm using to make sure that everything's being scaled to 32 pixels. Um, the code that it's checking. So if I come down here is ooh, sorry about that. So this is colliding. Is the function that it's using. Um, and it's taking an x for the current position plus the velocity that's determined up here times the speed that the character is going to move at. It takes an x and a y from both of that. So basically, it's taking the block that it's going to move towards, and if the density of that block is not 1, which means it's a dense, impassable block, then it will take that position and actually add on to the this velocity times speed. Um, a lot of the problem comes from, I mean, it works. If I didn't care about the right edge of the player model actually connecting to the left edge of the wall, it works. The collision is fine. That's the problem. For some reason, it's not tracking that. I'm getting the player position as wherever it is plus its icon size. So wherever its X location is plus its icon size. And I would check that. I was doing this before, checking if it was less than that second tile's Y coordinate. But it wasn't. It would just clip through it basically. So where I'm at now is it creates a vector of the X given divided by the icon size to get a rough X that is based on. Okay, so basically this grid is set up as a 10 by 10. So it's supposed to be. So it's a 10 by 10 dungeon grid that it can place tiles onto. So I'm dividing by the icon size to get basically the single digit coordinate of wherever this is in game. And then whatever number that is ends up being, I multiply it back times 1,000, or times the icon size to get the sort of even number, or the actual pixel of that X coordinate. And the same thing for the Y, and that gets me that the current what the player is currently standing in. That gets me the current tile of the player. This P2 then is supposed to be where it's moving towards, based on the. Well, maybe that might be wrong. Is that Java? It is C#. C#.net. I should clarify. I'm too dumb for Java. My brain no big. Me no big brain Java programmer. Me small brain C#.net developer. Yeah. And honestly, this that I have right now is the closest I've come. Before it was going all the way through that tile until the actual outermost pixel on the left side would hit wherever it was supposed to hit. So yeah, this is as close as I can get it, which I'm fine with right now. I can kind of tinker with that. So yeah. And I've noticed it doesn't do it. So if I set my speed to 1, so that the speed doesn't matter at all, it won't do it. It does move horribly though. I mean, you can see that there's a tiny bit of space on the right side, but it's not horrible. But there's no space on the bottom, I don't think. It might just be a pixel coloration. But yeah, there's like 1 pixel there, so it's not awful. Alright. Me no brain. Me do little computing physics, and that too much for my brain. Oh, me no brain either, man. Me work part-time as an actual developer, and me no brain good there. Me think why say lot word when few word do trick. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do, I wanna. You got big boy gerb? I do got big boy gerb. Fuck. Yeah, I love my big boy gerb. It's fun. Highly recommend getting a big boy gerb. That good pay gerb. Heck yeah, man. I mean, hey, any pay is good pay, right? Any pay is good pay when you're not getting paid at all. Me think I watch you stream. Me think that good idea. Me like when people watch stream. Jesus Christ, this programming stream just went real downhill real quickly. What's going on, AJ? How you doing, man? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on some like monster spawning code. So I can kind of test out the monster collisions. Because the monster collisions are roughly doing the same thing. So it could be a problem with how I I mean, this will kind of this might help me narrow down what my problem actually is. So we'll take take a random object, var spawn equals rand.next, and we'll spawn randomly between 1 and 5 monsters. And then for int I equal to 0, I less than spawn I plus plus C plus plus. What we'll do, oh man, I got a headache. Had a lot of stuff go on today and now my head just really hurts, but here I am, making the best out of it. Alright, so what we want to do then is create the monster. Equals new engine dot monster. We'll give it an ID of I. We'll give it the actual ID that this is using. We'll call it monster plus I. So that'll give it a name of monster 1, monster 2, monster 3, monster 4, monster 5. Well, monster 0, monster 1, yeah. Programming is 0 based when you do this. We'll give them health of just 5 for right now. That doesn't matter. Strength of 1, defense of 1. The spawn rate. So this I'm actually gonna set to 0 because I'm not gonna use it. That spawn rate is something I was working on for the Pokemon style spawning. So that, because you know you have a random chance if you're walking in the grass to spawn a Pokemon. So that's sort of something I was doing with these monsters, is that as you walk through the dungeon they might randomly pop up. But I also kind of want to have a few of them that just walk around naturally as well. So we'll create that monster. And then we will add it into the list of world monsters. From there, that's all we need right now. We don't need anything else. So that'll be fine. New map. Obviously, I would want this to run on the update as well. Just kind of always spawning monsters, and that's kind of where that spawn chance could come into as well, because that'll update that countdown for that spawn chance can sort of work. But like I said, we'll do that a little bit later. This is just, I want to make sure I can actually get the monsters onto the field and that I can run into them. Okay, so that does that, but we won't see them. So now we have to draw the monsters, which we can copy this draw player code. It would be very similar to how we draw the player, except that we need for each var m in monsters. Then we need to draw, so player image is fine. Then we want m dot position, position, and m dot position. So now, if there's monsters on the field, we should see more than one black square. No, we won't, because I didn't actually... So I wrote the function, I didn't put the function anywhere. So after we draw the player, then we'll draw the monsters. Okay, so that worked. But they have a position of 0, 0, which means they spawned in that top left corner. So when we spawn them, let's give them a random position based on the size. Oh, for now we'll just we'll actually only spawn like 2. I'm actually going to do a little trick that I like to do. Position equals new vector 2. And then rand.next. And we'll spawn them between 2 and 4 on the X position, and same on the Y. So that'll put them sort of in the it should put them somewhere randomly in the middle of the room. Hopefully. Nope. Oh, times icon size. So what I do is I take a smaller number and then multiply it by the actual pixel dimensions. That way I don't have to remember what 10 times, well, 32, it's 320, but I don't have to remember that for all the things. I can just say I want this at grid position 1, 1, and then multiply by the icon size and to get the actual pixel that I need. So there we go. So you can see me moving right here. You can see the monster down there. I'm walking right through him. So now we got to check that collision code. So update. Actually, we don't need update. We need. Hey, Camo, how you doing, man? We are just sitting here doing some programming today. Got some passion projects I want to work on, so we're doing that today. Hope you enjoy, man. So we'll check the is colliding, put a breakpoint here. And first off, I want to make sure that that is seeing that there's a monster in the room. False. Oh, why did I do 1? Greater than 0. That's why. Okay. We'll go ahead and restart. Good. How are you? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Okay, so now it's finding a monster in the room. So that was that was probably the whole issue right there. So we'll let this run and we'll see if I can bump into this monster. Nope, I still go through him. So put myself there so I'm close enough. And then I don't want to, I know it's going to do that, so let's just go to the function, do that, and then bam. And I could make this a little better, and not loop through all the monsters, just specifically find the one at the position that I'm moving to, and see what that returns. But this will get me started, and I'll do that a bit later. So there's only one monster, which is good. His position.x is 64. My x is going to be equal to that. So right there, that should return true already, which it does. His y is 96. Mine is 63. So that's false. Why? So I wonder. Okay, for the sake of this, we're gonna give the monsters a different image because it's hard to tell them apart from me and kind of see where I'm bumping into them. So I'm gonna open this, make a copy of this, call it. We'll just call it. We'll call it blue. We'll call it red, and we'll make it a red, just a red square. Very creative, Trey. Very, very smart. Thanks, Trey. Alright. Talking to myself now. Alright. So just make a red square. I have to come in here to the mono game pipeline and rebuild all this now. Add a new object that I just made. Images, tiles, red. Red, okay. And then we'll go ahead and rebuild all that. And we'll add it in here just so we can use it for other things. Okay, so that gives me access to red. Take it this, copy it, call it monster image. I believe that's in my load content. There it is. And then all I need to do for this is just replace this black with red. Oh boy. And then down here in draw, I need to draw monster. I need to draw monster image rather than player image. Okay. Easy enough. Easy fix. I lied. Oh, because I set player image to be red. There we go. Warning now, my code is ugly. I go back and clean it later. I don't write good clean code right off the bat. Alright, but now we can see we can see the difference now between the monster and I. So now I can see where it's hitting. Oh. There we go. Okay. So it's hitting on the left. Oh. Okay. So it's this top corner. The top corner of my character is bumping into the sides, which makes it not work. But if I move that corner out of the way of the monster, I can then move around it. Also, now I'm just walking right through. Oh, because there's a monster in the room. So this was, I didn't think this one through. So what I'm doing now is, if there's a monster in the room, do this collision check, else do all the other collision checks. Well, because there's a monster in the room, it's not going to check if I'm colliding with literally anything else. So we'll do this. Else, if there's a monster in the room, there. Why is this playing? Stop it. Well, I didn't realize Raiden was been playing for a while now. Yeah. Okay. So that should be good then. So now it's gonna run this. It's gonna see if this matches up. If this matches up. If not, it's gonna see if there's a monster in the room. If not, it's gonna then do the wall collisions. Oh, but if there is, it's still the same problem. If there is a monster in the room. Alright, we'll do it this way then. I thought my intention with that was I didn't want to run the check if there wasn't any monsters in there. But we'll just do this down here then. Well, same thing I guess. I can do an if there's nothing, or if it's the for each is just gonna return false if it doesn't get anything. So that should be fine. So now it should bump into everything somehow. Oh, I gotta turn my speed up. Alright, so it's bumping into that. It's gonna go through that. Yeah. So that's a problem. I might know how to fix that though. Let's turn the speed up. The collisions are gonna be a little off, but I need to be able to move. So we'll turn that up to 16. That's probably a little too fast, but oh yeah, that's very, very quick. Quick boy. Turn that down to, let's do 4. There we go. Okay. So now I need to, same thing what I'm doing with these wall collisions, I need to check against, okay. Basically I need the full bound box of the player to be checking the box of the monster as well. That didn't make any sense. It made sense in my head, but I can't explain it. So alright, so we want if the x is greater than that, or if the x is, hey, Hangin', what's going on, man? I'm just working on some program, well, not programs, working on a program. A dungeon RPG game. So, alright, so we're going to check if the x of the player is greater than or equal to the monster's x, which means it's going to be inside the monster, or if it's less than no, not the x plus icon size, the player x plus icon size. So this will check if the right side of the player is greater than, we want greater than or equal to. There we go. Oh nice, yeah. Haven't done a programming stream in a while, so I figured, you know, we'll take some time and do that, you know. And then I want to check if the x is. So I'm checking if it's inside the monster's bounding box. So I want to check if the x is less than its icon size. 64. Put my other parenthesis in there. X plus icon size is less than, probably the same thing, m dot, not monster image, m dot position dot x plus icon size. Seems interesting. I'm glad you think that. I'm glad you don't think this is boring as shit. Because I can see how this would be boring as shit. Especially if you don't understand what's going on. So what it is, just copy pasted all that. Now I just need to change these x's to be y's. I'm hoping this works. And this might fix my other issue too. Well, once I write it for that, but nah, I don't understand, but it's all good. Well, pay attention. You might learn, you know? Who knows? It's content. Exactly, it's content. Alright, so that... And if this worked for the monster, I'm gonna apply this to the walls. That might fix my wall issue. Nope. Now I just can't move at all. Alright, so what's going on? Is it a monster issue? Or is it a different issue? Okay, it's a monster issue. So... this one returns true because the x is greater than or equal to... So they're both... Okay, so that one already returns true because the x is going to be greater than the monster's x, which makes sense. If I was moving to the right, which way am I moving? 34, 32. Okay, so I'm moving to the right, so that makes sense. And it's going to be less than the rightmost edge of it, as well. So that makes sense because I'm moving to the right. Even if I'm above it, I'm still greater than its x. So that makes sense. Now we check the y. So now it's checking the y to make sure I'm actually inside of it, which I shouldn't be. So the position is 64, and my y is 32. Oh, that's why. Oh, so okay. So my y position is 32 or 2 in the grid, but its y position is 64. The code I just added is checking if my y position is greater than it or my y position plus my size, which would be the bottom of my bounding box. So my y position plus my size is 64, which is equal to that position, which basically means it is thinking it's hitting. So what I'm going to do here, I'll do it for up here as well, is take out the... but do I want to do that? I don't know. We'll see what it does. But will it blend, though? Okay, well now I can move, and now I'm actually bumping up against it. Hey, and that's I might be inside. Oh, I am. I'm clipped in it a little bit. And if I'll crank the icon size up to 64, so it's a little easier to see, because that's hard for me to see as well. Does it know the way? Are you a queen? You are a fake queen. Spit on the fake queen. Part 2. Ugandan Knuckles was my favorite, I'll be honest. Okay, so left side is good. Top is good. I can't... It looks like it's clipping a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe that's just my eyes. Okay, and then... This isn't a good map because it's going to clip on the bottom there, but... So we'll restart it. Maybe get more position on the bottom. But if this God damn it. There's a wall on the bottom. But if that code works for the monsters, then I just need to apply that to the walls as well. Yeah. Yeah, that looks... Yeah, that looks like it's what I want it to do. So we need to do that for the walls now. Oh, voice crack. So we do that for the wall collision detection, and that should be fine. That'll fix that. So I'm just gonna copy paste this code, just so I don't have to keep flipping back between the functions. I'm gonna comment it out. So that was quite camp. LOL. Quite camp? I'm not sure I know what you mean. This goddamn city. Coming from a guy, that's a compliment. Appreciate you. I don't know what it means by appreciate you. Oh, feminine. Okay. Oh, you're talking about. Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. You're talking about my voice crack. I gotcha now. Thanks, Penguin. Okay, so Alright, so I really don't need this anymore. What this was doing was kind of singling down to a couple tiles. Cowboy mode engaged. Yee, and I cannot stress this enough. Fucking ha. Yee-ha. Okay. Yeah, but all this was doing, it was just running some link queries to, or link statements, to, filter down the list of tiles to exactly what's going to be, what I'm going to bump into. Oh god, stop. I have music in this playlist. It's a squad playlist, and there's music in this playlist that I just don't want to listen to right now. Some of that stuff I'm just not in the mood for, and it's some of the stuff that I added. So there you go. As I was talking, I just realized that I might still do that, because this list of tiles is going to get very long. So if I can filter it down to almost exactly what I'm going to need, that'll be good. So we'll take this. We're gonna take this where statement, and I'll explain what this is doing. So world is just a list of tiles that are in the world. Those are what gets drawn. Dot where, so where the tile is not null. Because even though it's a list, it still gets null tiles for some reason. So I have to add that. Oh. And then this is where, so I'm basically checking where its position is going to be, these X and Y coordinates. And I'm actually going to take the T2, because that's what I want. I want where we're moving to, not where we've been. I really don't need this P1 statement anymore. We don't need to call this T2, we can call this T. TT. I say a lot, and I'm sorry. And it's gonna make it a list. Gonna give me a list of objects. So now that we have that, we're gonna take this that we wrote in the monster stuff and sort of apply it here as best we can. So this is taking. Okay, so this takes the player X that's given, not filtered down at all. Just takes the X. Checks if it's greater than or equal to what I want, so the monster.position.x. Which would be the tile.localx times icon size. And we don't need that p2.x anymore. Wait. Shoot. No, we'll do this. We'll do our filter as this statement. So we won't even need this p2 statement anymore. And then we need parentheses around this to do our OR statement. And then we want to check if the x is greater than the x plus icon size is greater than the tile dot local x times icon size. I know I don't have to put parentheses there. Visual Studio or the compiler is usually pretty smart about it, but it gives me peace of mind knowing that my formulas aren't going to be messed up. So that should be the x down. No, that is the left side. So I'm going to split this into two where statements then, because you can see it's going to be long. I'm copying this. It's going to be a long statement, and that's just for the x. So we're going to split this down to be two different where statements. And I don't really need this yet. So, and put our parentheses in. So now we want to check if the x is less than the tile dot local x times icon size. At some point, I'll probably do what I did with the monsters. I'm kind of reworking my engine to be built around this monogame stuff now. So I made this position, which is just a vector 2. I'll probably do that with the tiles at some point, just give them a vector 2 position rather than single x and y coordinates. But that'll be later. This works. So this will at least get me where I need to be. I can go back and fix my dumb mistakes later. So x less than, yeah, so if it's less than the icon size, so if it's less than the left side, or right side. Oh, yeah, right side. This would be where I need those parentheses just to really make sure that that doesn't get messed up. So, taking the tile x times the icon size plus the icon size to get that right side of the tile. Making trying to find the key that all good songs are in. Or x plus icon size is less than, and again, same thing. A lot of this is just copy-paste code, and I really need to come in. I already know that I got to come in here and refactor a lot of this. But this is, I just want to really make sure that it works before I get too complicated, make too many variables that I don't need. Yeah. Okay. So that is the x. So now what we're going to do is just copy this, paste it here, and do the exact same thing for the y's, and changing everything to say y. Oh. So that gives me that, and then I'll just send it to list. So that'll give me a list of objects. It should only be one, but going to list is the easiest way to just get an object rather than an enumerable that I have to cast and play around with. So it's a list of one object. It's not gonna kill my memory usage and whatnot, so not worried. So now we'll put a we'll just kind of assume that this works, and we'll just run it and see what it does. Okay. Damn it. So now we're back to where I was originally, clipping through the actual walls. But here you can see that it's because that pixel is hitting it, the rest of it's not. So it's not tracking that right side of the object. Okay. So where did I go wrong? Where I went wrong is probably that I just did this as a link statement. So, as much as I don't want to do this, it'll still be quick. I'll figure out a better way later. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay. So, do that. We want to check if T is not null. And then we want these statements back. Well, we'll just copy from here. There we go. We'll do this. Because I'm pretty sure the statements are right. Like that if it works for one thing, it's got to work for the other. It doesn't make sense that it just doesn't want to do that for the tiles. The tiles are set up exactly the same way as the monsters. In this sense. So it really doesn't make sense that they don't both work. Change all mentions of the word tile to be T for this selection. There's a little trick of the trade when it comes to Control F. Something I learned actually recently and really quite enjoy. Alright, I don't need any of this now. Oh, I do need that. Why? There we go. I put too many parentheses in, apparently. That might be why it actually didn't work. I would wager that that's why it did not work. But this is just gonna loop through everything. Hopefully this works. Nah, it's gonna give me errors. Oh god. Okay, fine. Take your fucking return statements. What? What doesn't return? If you got an else here. You have an else here. Oh. Else here and then else here. There. Actually, we don't even need the else's. We just need that. There we go. Okay. And I can't move. False. If there's no tiles in the world, just return false. Okay, well that's not the problem. Oh, first off, T shouldn't be null. Okay, cool. Is it even making it down here, is the question. Top left corner. So it found it at 0, 0. My X is 68 and 64, which means it's moving to the right. So I think it just took the first thing it found, because my X would be greater than it, so that's why. But why would it do that? Okay. So, moving down, I think. Check my Y. Yeah, 68. I'm moving down. I need to get a new chair. Okay. What I'm doing right now is just adding a few watches to quickly see these values. Not U, I want Y. There we go. I'm gonna move these down here, that way, well, rather copy them down here and then, delete them. That way my stuff is all sort of together. There, so I have my player and then my tile. Okay. Let's drag this up a little bit so I can see it a little better. Actually, better yet, I'm gonna drag it, well, yeah, I'm gonna drag it off here. It's gonna be off screen for you guys, but I wanna be able to see my code and the values, so, sorry. Okay, so right now, the X is greater than the icon size, or greater than, so this statement's true. And then it's not going to check the second one because the first one's true. That's what this double OR is. It's an or else. And also, the X plus icon size 128. No, sorry. X is less than, so 64 less than that. So it's not less than, so that's false. Just going to check the second one. 128 is not also less than 64. So, okay. Wait, but it... Oh, okay. Moving down. New values. Except that they're not. Okay. So, 64 less than... or greater than 0, correct. 64 less than... 64, no. 128 less than 64, no. So, if I click step into... that shouldn't have worked. False. So there's a problem right there. Oh, I bet it has something to do with this. But if it said false, why did it let it step into it? Like, it clearly... I mean, it's false. It said false. So, this is false. And this is true. Wait. This is true. What? Why does that... Oh, and is false, right. Duh. So false and true is still gonna be false. I'm an idiot. Yeah, so that should be false. But it... Okay. Maybe I fixed it. maybe that's what it was. Maybe my parentheses were in the wrong place. Alright, well now we're moving again, which is good. See, it works for the monster. Yeah, I'm not going through the monster. So why is it that I go through the wall? Now I'm doing almost exactly the same thing. Oh. It could be... That's exactly the same. I mean, it's even... Ugh. So, why does this not want to work? It's something painfully obvious. I mean, there's no way that, like, after all this, I find code that works for one collision and reverts me all the way back to where I started for another. I mean, this makes no sense. This is the exact same, except that I don't move through the creature. Okay, well that... Oh, that's interesting. It's putting me kind of opposite now of what it was. Why? Is that like that's probably 8 pixels, isn't it? Or is it like 4? So that's the other thing too. I can't tell how many pixels it's off. It might be 4. It might be. Gosh. So now it's backwards. Now it was working on the left and the top. Now it's not working on anything. Now I clip through here and I can't even touch the wall here. But the monster is fine. That's what I don't understand. The monster is exactly how I want it to be. So, do 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 do. Let's do this first off. It's gonna be its own function now. Just to kind of keep I want to keep my functions as clean as possible. So function is colliding wall vol int x int y, and we're just gonna take this, bam, bam. Get rid of all this. If is colliding wall at x and y. Return true. I do not want to listen to Build Me a Buttercup. Yeah, I'll listen to Pumped Up Kicks. That's fine. It's not Build Me a Buttercup. Oh. Else return false. So it's gonna run its view screen collision checks. So this will keep it from going off the screen. This will check if it's colliding into a monster. This will check if it's colliding into a wall. If none of these are true, it will just say, hey, you're not colliding with anything. Go on with your bad self. I don't know why I said that. Okay, doing that has already fixed that wall problem. Now, there we go, we're back. So if I come all the way down here, is it going to do it now? So that was... Let me check it again, just to really make sure I see what I actually seen happened. So it's fine. I can touch the wall. I can go all the way down to the bottom, touch the wall. If I come over here, go down. There we go. Now I can't touch the left wall, but I can touch the... So that's almost random now when it's happening. Oh my god. Alright. Well, now we know the monsters work. For right now, let's stop spawning the monster. We know that it's gonna work. Okay, well that time it happened on the left wall, so that was consistent. I just don't understand why it would be happening. If I leave the left wall and come back, it's fine. Same with the top. If I go all the way over and come back, it does it. Oh, and there it goes with the top as well. I wonder if it's not because my thing clips to the wall here, that for some reason it must put it off off center then, in a sense. Oh, that must exactly be what it's doing, because see, now it's not really fully colliding with the bottom either. Huh, interesting. So even though it says it's colliding, the position must still be moving. So So let's do. In the update, we're multiplying the velocity, or the icon size times the delta time. Let's not do that. Let's just multiply our position times the delta time. That way, if we don't move, it's the delta time is the exact same. It's not more time hasn't elapsed since that. This might not be at all what I want, but I feel like, I mean, that's the only thing I could think of, especially if it put itself off center basically, because the colliding with the bottom was putting a few extra pixels of space now too, which means the whole thing is off. At some point it got off center. Nope. And if I go to the, yep. So, oh boy. What? For right now, let's just take out the delta time. I don't. Maybe that's what's throwing it off. You know. Who knows? Just for right now, just cut that out. Cut that out. What have I become? My sweetest friend. And everyone. Oh, I got rid of the. There we go. Okay. So that should. I wonder if that's not part of it. Ah. Well. Interesting. Alright, let's throw the delta time back in. Because I don't know what the fuck that was. Ugh. Okay. I don't know. I might leave this here. I made progress with the monsters. I mean that's good. That's exactly how I wanted them to be. So I like that. Um, so I think I'm good to stop here. So thank you everybody who came out to watch. This was fun. I definitely want to do more of these programming streams in the future. They're fun for me to do. A fun little solo thing to do. I can just turn on some music, do some programming. So yeah. Hope to do more of them in the future. Hope you guys come out and see more. So thanks for everyone who came out, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.